the flight. They identified me and told me that I was denied entry into Zambia. I asked the question, on what basis? Then they insisted. I said, I want to contact my legal team so I can get legal support. They refused. They detained my phone. They came back and they said they wanted any transmitting devices. So they took away my iPad. They said I could not come in. They started to assault me and push me down, while they wanted to make sure other passengers could then at that point leave the plane. It was then subsequent to that they simply said they are not obliged to give me any reason. They will not satisfy themselves until I'm put back on the plane. We had a disagreement for an hour on the runway. All I simply wanted was to arrive to stand side by side with a friend, a fellow comrade, somebody who stands for the rule of law in Zambia, HH, who has been detained in Zambia and charged with treason, a charge that could end up in capital punishment for absolutely no reason, for him doing his job. And therefore, as a result of that, his trial takes place today. All I wanted to do is stand side by side with him and say, as a leader and a chairperson of the South African Partnership for Democratic Change, we must stand together when dictators rise up. There is no rule of law. I am asking the South African government to request and strongly send a letter to the Zambian authorities, a démarche, to explain to us why was I denied entry into Zambia. And ultimately, we are here to make one simple demand, that Jacob Zuma and his government here, history must decide which side do we stand on. Do we stand on the side of dictators, Lungu, Mugabe et al., or do we want to stand for democracy and simply say that opposition have a right to stand up, democracy must stand, and ultimately we must free HH in Zambia. It remains our call. We will not be deterred from it. I will go inside to the High Commission to ask why my rights are being suppressed, and ultimately I want to go back to Zambia and stand with HH, because I believe that if Africa and SADC are to prosper, democracy must be entrenched, constitutionalism must stand, and the rule of law must be upheld.
We're traveling on a diplomatic official passport or a personal passport, and how much responsibility, given that your position is a constitutional position in South Africa, how much responsibility then for DERCO and the South African government?
I must say the Department of International Relations have been very helpful in this matter. We wrote to them initially and informed them that we were going there. And I don't expect the ANC government to pick our side. I only expect them to simply say, when a South African citizen arrives in another country, they are obligated to act. And therefore, when I went, I traveled on my personal passport because I felt this matter. HH and I have been friends. We've journeyed together and many times. And therefore, I felt I must support him. And therefore, we went there on a personal trip, but understanding equally so that there's an important case on the go. That is why when we got there, the South African High Commission to Zambia was waiting for us at the airport, waiting to receive us. The authorities refused for us to even make contact with them. They kept phoning us to say, can we help? That's why the Zambian authorities took away our phone and all our communication so we could get no legal recourse. But that's why I've asked the Director General to send a démarche, a strongly worded request, so that we can understand why, what reasons were there for them to deny us entry.
So as it stands, your personal phone and iPad are still in Zambia?
No, the pilot of the plane then came and said, if we are detained in Zambia, will take away our equipment back to South Africa so we can send people to come. So as it happened, we then had an opportunity to contact him and get our equipment back.
We just spoke to the High Commissioner. He's saying that you were denied access to a politicizing a court case. What's your response to that?
How is it not a political court case? How do you arrest the leader of the opposition and charge him with treason and SADC simply because he slowed down his motorcade against the president? It's a political case, but this is a personal matter. As I have said, that we have a good relationship with HA. The UNPD is our sister party. Imagine if the international community turned a blind eye to the ANC during the struggle times when they were fighting against apartheid and said we will these abuses of human rights today, we have absolutely no choice but to stand with the people of Zambia, the constitution, and go and support fellow Africans who are fighting for democracy.
Mr. Maimane, the High Commission says they're asking you to delay your trip so they can get court permission for you to visit.
Why do I need court permission to attend a court proceeding of a personal friend? On what basis?
Did you receive it?
They sent out a media statement, and we told them that in fact they had no right to bar us from Zambia. None whatsoever. If the Zambian government wants to act in constitutional terms, they must then decide at immigration, what law have I broken by going to support a fellow African? There is absolutely no reason, and they have not still furnished me with one as I stand here today. What they did at that airport and what they are doing to Zambia, this issue is not even about me. But the reality of it is this, is that we must ask ourselves, in what world can they arrest the leader of the opposition in the manner that they have? What's happening? Thank you so much.